I just want to get this off on my chest. We're just going to talk about the case of Brendon Staddon. So I'm just going to go into. I just want to
news report
get
on
this
this.
off on my chest.
The
We're just
father
going
of
to
a
talk about the case of Brendon Staddon,
boy who died from
catastrophic injuries.
So I'm
has
just
been
going to go
found
into
guilty of
the
murder.
police news
Daniel
report on this.
Gunter, aged
The
27,
father of a
of no
two-week-
fixed address, has
two-week
been found
old
guilty.
boy who died from
unanimously
catastrophic injuries
by
has
a
been
jury
found
at
guilty
Bristol
of
Crown
his
Court
murder
today,
Daniel
Thursday,
Gunter,
24th
aged
of July,
27,
2025,
of no fixed address,
of killing his son
found
Brendon
guilty
Staddon
unanimously
at
by
Hospital
a
in the
jury
early
at
hours
Bristol
of
Crown Court
the 5th
today,
of March,
Thursday,
2024, 24th of July, 2025,
Um,
of killing his son Brendon
Daniel
Staddon
Gunter
at
denied
Yeovil
harming
District
Brendon Staddon,
Hospital in the
but
early
a
hours
jury
of
found
the
him
5th of
guilty
March,
of
2024.
but a jury at
Bristol
Bristol
Crown Court found him guilty.
Daniel Gunter denied
and
harming
he was
Brendon
sentenced to a
Staddon,
minimum of 20 years
a jury found him
at-
guilty of
in prison.
but a jury at
Bristol
Sophie
Crown
Staddon,
Court found
aged
him
21, was
guilty,
acquitted of
and
causing
he
or
was
allowing
sentenced to a
Brendon's
minimum
death.
of 20 years
The charges of murder for Staddon
in prison,
and causing or allowing Brendon's death. Sophie Staddon,
for
aged 21, was
Gunter
acquitted of
were
causing or allowing
dismissed.
Brendon's death.
Baby Brendon,
The
who
charges
was
of
born
murder
prematurely
for
at
Staddon,
33 weeks
and
on
causing or
20th
allowing
of February
Brendon's death
2024 was
for
described by prosecutor
Gunter
Charles
were
Rowe
dismissed.
KC
Baby
as
Brendon,
weighing
who
less
was
than
born
a couple
prematurely
bags
at
of
33
sugar.
weeks
Gunter murdered his
on 20th
son
of
in an
February
assault which
2024
caused
was
described
Brendon
by prosecutor
to
Charles
sustain
Rowe
catastrophic and fatal
KC
injuries.
as weighing less
Mr.
than a
Rowe
couple bags
told
of
the
sugar.
court that
Gunter
Brendon
murdered
sustained
his son
injuries
in
from
an
head
assault
to toe,
which caused
including
Brendan
a shattered
to
skull.
I
to
just want to
catastrophic
get this off on my
fatal
chest.
injuries.
I'm just going to talk
The
about
prosecutor
the case
told
of
the court
Brendon
how nurses
Staddon.
and doctors fought to
Um,
save
injuries
Brendon
from
head to
life.
toe.
I'm just
after
going to go
his mother
into
Jessica Staddon
the
asked
police
mother
news
help
report on this.
describing Brendon
The father
as
of a
feeling
2-week
told the court how
old
nurses and
boy who
doctors
died
fought
from
to save
catastrophic
Brendon
injuries
by
has
after
been
his
found
mother
guilty
forced
of
his
murder.
mother help.
Daniel
Baby
Gunter,
Brendon
aged
died
27,
later.
of no fixed
Following
address,
the
has been
verdict, Brendon's
found
grandfather,
guilty
Daniel Gunter, was
unanimously
arrested
by
Brendon
a
at
jury at
hospital
Bristol
early
Crown
4
Court
a.m.
today,
Baby
Thursday,
Brendon
24th of
died
July,
8 minutes later.
2025,
Following the
of
verdict,
killing his son
Brendon's
Brendon
grandfather,
Staddon
Simon
at Yeovil
Brendon,
District
in the
Hospital
life
in
was
the early
born
hours
early
of
as a
the
family,
5th of March,
so happy and
2024. It was just
excited
perfect.
despite his
Despite
early
his
arrival,
arrival,
he
in
was
preparation
Daniel
for his
Gunter
fight
denied
to improve
harming
his
Brendon
strength in the
Staddon,
very
but
short life he's had.
a jury found him guilty of
so
happy and excited.
but a jury of Bristol Crown Court found him guilty, and he was sentenced to a minimum of 20 years.
Take him on his first holiday and see him
in prison.
Then a man.
Sophie
Staddon,
Staddon,
aged 21, was acquitted of causing or allowing Brendon's death. The charges of murder for Staddon, he deserves what he did, and causing or allowing Brendon's death for Gunter
have been taken
were
from
dismissed,
and
and
Baby
Brendon,
Brendon,
who was born prematurely at 33 weeks, deserves what he did.
on
On
20th of February 2024 was described by prosecutor Charles Rowe KC as weighing less than a couple bags of sugar. Gunter murdered his son in an assault which caused Brendon to sustain catastrophic and fatal injuries. One of the nurses who provided words of advice to Gunter sustained injuries from head to toe, including a shattered skull and multiple breath
allowing
burns.
him to rest.
The prosecutor then provided words of how nurses and doctors fought to save Brendon's life after his mother, Mrs. Staddon, asked for their help, describing Brendon as feeling cold. Daniel Gunter was arrested by police outside the hospital at 4:51 a.m. when baby Brendon died 8 minutes later. Following the verdict, Brendon's grandfather, Simon Gunter, said Brendon was born early and was so tiny but so beautiful. He was just perfect. Despite his early arrival, he was a little fighter and improved his strength in the very short life he had. As a family, we were so happy and excited. We'd bought clothes, toys and supplies in preparation for his arrival, and we all had exciting plans for the future. But we have been robbed of a life-filled memories of Brendon. We won't get to see his first steps, see his first his words, take him on his first holiday and see him grow into a young boy, then a man. We will never have those memories. They have been taken from us, and he will never be replaced. I hope Daniel gets what he deserves for what he did to Brendon, but whatever the outcome, I will never bring him back. Today, some justice has been served, but we still have many unanswered questions. Small points from this case is overstimulating Brendon. The jury was told how, over several days, Gunter was told to stop handling, overstimulating and fussing baby Brendon by tickling him, poking him and not allowing him to rest. One of the nurses who provided words of advice to Gunter was left with the impression that he did not take criticism well. Mr. Rowe explains to the jury this sort of overstimulation is something which is not advised and can have the consequence of distressing the child, causes crying and for oxygen levels to drop. In the hour, they were also told how Gunter was witnessed by visiting family being rough, and Brendon became angry when Brendon urinated on him during the nappy time. In the hours before Brendon's death, the nurses on duty noticed Gunter's demeanour changing. The court was told by 3:30 to 3:40 a.m. The nurse said Brendon was with Mr. Gunter. She looked in and asked, "Is he all right?" To which Gunter replied, "Yes, he's all right," but in a way the nurse considered odd. His reply did not seem natural to her. He seemed excited. His response was unusually animated, and he was nodding exaggerated. The nurse thought it was if he didn't want her to go over to him. It was just after 4 a.m. that Mrs. Staddon approached the nurse station, raising concerns for her baby. Controlling heart, the jury was told about Gunter's emotionally abusive and controlling behaviour towards his own part of his body, which was his on-again, off-again ex-partner, Mrs. Staddon. The jury was told how Gunter controlled Mrs. Staddon's finances, dictating who she could speak to and spend time with how much, what and how much she ate and when she smoked. She said she and Gunter shared a mobile phone while the family needs were addressed, and Gunter would on occasion send messages pretending to be Staddon. Gunter was described by a childhood acquaintance as someone who was quick to find family and witnessed the relationship between the pair first hand when the pair had lived in shared temporary accommodation. Child protection services became involved. The court was told by Mr. Rowe how social services had become involved during the Staddon pregnancy investigation and had several concerns. He said, I am concerned about more things, including their precarious housing situation, the way Gunter appeared to control Staddon and her finances, her physical and mental health, and their lack of engagement. The court has not had a great day when the social worker visited the couple in the hospital following Brendon's birth. He was struck by the lack of emotional warmth shown by Gunter. Has not had the greatest investigators as Brendon's uncle from his mother's side. This has had several things that be detective on my side of the family. I only met I think that one Partridge from the major crime investigation team from his mother's side. The injuries of Brendon sustained catastrophic, and there was one time a part of his body which wasn't bruised or broken. It breaks my heart to see someone do such vicious things before in this situation. And I have finally decided his whole life ahead of him. Brendon was fairly happy joyfully on the day that I met Brendon. It's been difficult to process this situation. Cases and I have finally decided to speak about it as the defendants were related in some way. Parents briefly on the day that I met Brendon. There was only Sophie not having a fix. I would like to give my condolences to Brendon's grandparents and their wider family who supported. Did not feel like special accommodation route. Specialist family laid until she was 18 and then she decided to move out on her own. This investigation has been long and complex with the birth of special accommodation several different
departments and professionals that Sophie had to agency would like to recognise the efforts done so everyone involved in this case. It is practice and technology, a true team effort, only having the case Sophie was unable to contact any family members. Sophie had power to get from the talks that I've had she would have Sophie because he controlled her access to technology.
I will highlight
by only having one phone. Sophie isn't
a
able to
relative
contact any family members.
I
many talks that I've had
I can say
Sophie,
a couple of things on
but as far as I'm aware,
I will say that
this opinion
my sister
is all dependent on taking her
I will say
word.
my sister has not had the greatest mental stability since I'm aware that she's done several things over the years to make me really question her choices in life.
As a police investigation, that was
as Brendon's uncle from his mother's side, this has had a big impact on my side of the family. I only met Dan, I think, once, and that was
I've never
at
been
the same time that I met
the whole situation.
Brendon died after the one time I visited him in the hospital. I'm happy that I actually got to hold him. It's been difficult for me to process this situation. I have finally decided to speak about this. I only met Dan's parents briefly on the day that I met Brendon. It was only recently that I decided to look more into the case of my nephew, as it did not feel right looking into it at an earlier time. The reason for Sophie not having a fixed address is that she decided to move out on her own from foster care at 17 and lived in sort of a special accommodation that she could only stay until she was 18, and then she ended up on her own afterwards. At the time of her birth, Sophie had a difficult relationship with our mother. I believe that if Sophie had the means to get with Dan, she would have done so, because he controlled her access to technology by only having one phone. Sophie was not able to contact any family members for support. From the talks that I've had with Sophie since she came back to make this at all, but I have. Home in general, is that there may have been drugs involved in the relationship.
My nephew,
but as far as I'm aware, that's all. This opinion is all dependent on taking her at her word. As a police investigation that was done since the death made no mention of the drugs, and I find it hard to believe that there were any drugs involved in the first place. But yeah, it's taken me quite some time to process this whole situation, and it's only now that I've even decided to talk about it. I've never been approached about the whole situation by anybody. No counsellors for just trying to understand the situation. That never happened. So I didn't get any liaison situation going on to help understand what had gone on with my family, but I've done my best as I can, and I'm gonna say it's been a difficult couple of years with my own life problems on top of that, and then further family related issues happening since that event. A lot has gone on, and I just really haven't had the ability to process this at all. And I am shocked I'm making this now at all. I am just shocked that I have decided to make this at all. But I have. So it's here. And I'm likely to leave it here now, I guess. Thanks for listening to the case about my nephew and what I had to say, really. Thanks, I guess.